Hello learners. In this lecture we will see what is workability and how it has to be understood, right? So to put it in a very general term, we'll try to understand this in this way, right? So I'm giving you two options now. Okay. The first one is a eclairs chocolate what I have, and the second is a Frutella chocolate, right? And we'll start with the eclairs chocolate. I'll give you eclairs chocolate now, and you have to eat it, and you have to count how long you are going to take it to bite, and then you finish it off, right? So by general understanding, we know that if I take a eclairs chocolate, it's very soft in nature, right? So within 3-4 bite, I can break it into pieces, and then I can take it inside, right? Let us say hardly 10 seconds I require for this eclairs chocolate to be eaten. Let us say 10 seconds. Now if I give you a Frutella chocolate, and we all have tasted the Frutella and the eclairs chocolate at least once in our lifetime, right? So if I give you a Frutella chocolate, so what is going to happen? The moment you put it in the mouth, you have to bite it. And how many times you have to, at least you have to bite it for 7 to 8 times, because since it's very hard, right? It's not that easy. You have to keep on biting, and once you have broken down them into very small pieces, then you can take it inside. And let us say here you are going to spend around 15 to 20 seconds to finish it off, right? Now in the entire process, what has happened now? Which one you felt it very easy, whether the eclairs chocolate or the Frutella chocolate? Obviously the eclairs chocolate was easy for me to break it down and to eat it, right? So workability is nothing but it's the ability to do the work easily. So here what was happening, I don't have to put more effort, right? While biting easily, if I do the biting, I can break it into the pieces. But here I had to put a lot of energy. I'll write it here. While eating the Frutella chocolate, if you might have experienced in your life, you have to put a lot of energy, right? And also sometimes your jaws start to pain by the, since you have to apply a lot of pressure in eating that chocolate, right? So now I hope you got an idea what exactly I'm trying to tell. Workability is nothing, it's the ability to do its work on its own without putting much effort. In the same way, when we place the concrete and all, no, the concrete has to flow on its own. That means I should not do any work. The concrete should be in the position, the concrete should become like a eclairs chocolate for me on its I don't have to put much effort in pulling the concrete and placing the concrete. The concrete on itself has to go each and everywhere, right? So it's the same philosophy what we have in a concrete, right? So if you're still not able to understand what I'm trying to tell, you can try this at home. Take a eclairs chocolate and take a Frutella chocolate, try to eat it and see what is the pain that you get while eating a Frutella chocolate, and how much nice it would be while eating the eclairs chocolate. Yeah, so with this understanding, now we'll try to see the practical thing. Now I have four photographs here. Yeah, so here what, let us say this two photograph is one, and these two are one. Okay, so here what is happening, you can see, just by looking at it we can come to a conclusion that here the concrete is bit stiff. No, here there is no much water in the concrete, and even here also there is no much water in the concrete. Whereas here you can see the concrete has enough water, and here also the concrete has enough water. That means there is enough fluidity in the concrete. Now we'll start with this. So where if I'm pouring a concrete here, so what is happening, no, this concrete is staying here only, right? It's not moving on its own. So the guy standing here, he has to pull the concrete from here, and he has to place it everywhere. Similarly here also, right? Here let us say this guy is coming and placing the concrete here with this wheelbarrow. So what is going to happen, the concrete is going to stay here only. It may even create a small heap here, and then the labor has to be deployed, and he has to pull the concrete so that you can place it. But if I go to the other case, that is this photograph, the moment I pour the concrete here, no, so what is happening, the concrete is trying to go on its own. You don't have to put anything extra here. Remember something like a eclairs chocolate, what was happening, you didn't have to put more effort there, right? While eating here also you don't have to put more effort in pulling the concrete or placing the concrete. But even here also, see, the moment you're pouring the concrete, no, of course, forget about the height. If even if you pour it from this level also, they are going to move on its own. So once you're pouring the concrete here, it's able to flow on its own, right? The person who is standing here, no, he don't have to do a work. He don't have to put more energy in pulling the concrete, right? Like this guy is doing. This guy has to put a lot of effort because there is no water at all, so he has to pull it like anything. But here he can stand there as it is, so you don't have to put much effort here in pulling the concrete, right? So this is called as workability. So workability is nothing but it's the ability of a concrete to do the work on its own is called as workability, right? I hope this much understanding is clear. Now with this understanding, one thing that may come in our mind, if my intention is only to make the concrete flowable, what I can do, simply let me try to add some water into that. isn't it? It's very simple. See, here there is no water at all, right? So that is why the concrete is a bit stiff. But here there is more water in the concrete, and if my intention is only to improve the workability, then let me add few more water into that. If I try to add more water into this, what is going to happen? My concrete will become flowable, right? A very simple logic what we can apply. But if we try to do in this way, then there is a person called Duff Abram. He is going to get angry on us, right? So if we try to add more and more water in the concrete, when I'm telling, not during the time of manufacturing, at the time of manufacturing of concrete we have to add water. But once your concrete reaches the site, let us say the concrete has reached the site, this is a place where the execution is going on, and now if you try to add external water here, or now if you try to add more and more water here, what is going to happen? Duff Abram is going to get angry. This guy is going to get angry, right? So he is going to get angry if you try to add more and more water. If a laborers add a water, then it's not an issue. The laborers don't have any technical knowledge, let them add water. But if a civil engineer try to add more water, then he is going to get even more angry, right? Why he is going to get more angry, that we'll try to see in the next lecture, because there is a relation between the water cement ratio and the strength of my concrete, right? So there's a relation between that. If you try to add more and more water, what is going to happen, we'll try to see in the next lecture. As of now, always remember, never try to add external water to the concrete. Once the concrete is reaching to the place, we should make sure the concrete, there is no additional water added. Okay, a little bit amount of water if you add, it's okay, but huge amount of water should not be added, right? So this is a importance of workability. Now we'll try to see the definition of this. As of now, we have tried to understand this in a very general way. Now coming to the technical meaning of this, you can write it in three different ways. Workability is that property of a freshly mixed concrete or mortar, right? Workability can be for the concrete also, it can be even for the mortar also. Mortar in the sense, if you take cement, sand, and if you add water to that, that becomes my mortar, which determines the ease and homogeneity with which it can be mixed, placed, compacted, and finished, right? The term ease is very important. Ease means easiness. They should be easy, you shouldn't put more effort in that, it has to flow on its own. The second definition is that workability is that property determining the effort required, right, to manipulate a freshly mixed quantity of a concrete with a minimum loss of homogeneity. In essence, workability is defined as the ease of placement with resistance to the segregation. You can even try to write this definition as well. Or if you want to do another definition, you can write in this way: workability of a concrete may be defined as the amount of internal work required. Internal work required in the sense, the amount of work that is put by the concrete, because concrete itself has to do a work, right? So that is the internal work of a concrete required to fully compact the concrete to optimum density. At least certain density the concrete has to gain, so that this is the internal work done by the concrete. It may also be defined as ease with which the concrete can be compacted fully without undergoing any segregation in the bleeding is called as workability, right? So these are the three textbook definitions what you can try to write. Otherwise, even if you want to write it in a very simple term, you can write it is a ease with which the concrete can be mixed, placed, compacted, and finished without any segregation or bleeding is called as workability. Or even you can try to take any one out of this, right? Yeah. So I hope the basic understanding of workability is clear. So in the next lecture, we'll try to see what all are the different tests that we have to do on the concrete, and we'll see them one by one. So we'll see you back in the next lecture. Thank you.